Good and happy Friday to all of you people and all you tacos out there as we are here back on our Tacos virtual mode for another great Talk About It Friday. I'm not going to waste any more of our time and we're going to get right into it, so here we go! Alright friends, like we have for the last week, and now we're going to be moving in and keeping this strategy going for our Talk About It Fridays. We are going to start with the starter question. Today's starter is simply, what have you been reading lately? I think that reading is a very important thing for you all to be doing. I know, coming from being a kid at one point in my life, reading was more of a hassle. It was more of something that I do for projects and things like that. But as I grew up, I think that reading really became something that I enjoyed. And I do read a lot of books, and I do enjoy reading stories of all kinds of things. And right now, actually, I'm reading a book that I got for Christmas, and it is the Barack Obama memoir, which is called A Promised Land. This is the first part of his memoir series. I'm about a little more than two-thirds of the way through, and I've been reading since Christmas, and yeah, that is what I've been reading right now, learning about the early campaign of Barack Obama and his early days in presidency, and it's kind of been really fun to explore that and see what his story is and everything, and I'm looking forward to reading. One of my New Year's resolutions that I had this year was to read a book
every month of the year.
See, usually what happens is, I've said before, I get books on Christmas, and then I have a really good start to the year of reading. But by the time March, April, May rolls around, it kind of slows. And I have other things in my life going on, but this year I'm trying to devote time to make sure that I am reading more than I usually do. So that is our starter for today. Now we're going to get into some really funny questions with our comical questions. The first of those questions is toilet paper. Over or under? So now for those of you who probably are thinking,
what do you mean by that, Wade? I don't understand that question at all.
I'm talking about a toilet paper roll. When you need to replace the toilet paper in your house, do you put the toilet paper over as the roll, or do you put it under as a roll? See, now when I was growing up, I was like you people who were very confused by this question. What do you mean over or under for toilet paper?
To me, it really didn't make a difference.
And I quickly found out that the rest of my family was very much an over person. And so when I would do it under, they would get very upset at me. So I guess the answer for myself when I think of toilet paper over or under
is that to me it really doesn't matter which way I have to pull from the toilet paper roll.
It's not something that really is going to take some time out of my day and make me
angry or
it has to be particular. But I will say, to be courteous, and especially to my brother who always had a pain when I would do this at home, I tried to put the toilet paper over because it seems more controversial to people to put it under, meaning that it's going to somehow be harder to get at. I don't know, but that is how I would answer that question. I'm gonna say that I don't really care which way the toilet paper goes, but for those who really do care,
yes, I'll put it over for you.
The next question is kind of a fun question, and I'm going to go about it in a
logistical, scientific way.
And that question is a hot dog a sandwich? So, yes, another ridiculous question, something that is kind of fun to think about. I don't think we would consider hot dogs a sandwich unless you really ask the question, because hot dogs and sandwiches are different in variants, but
okay, we'll get into this question. We'll entertain this crazy thought.
But I'm going to use some scientifical, logistical thinking here for what I would think if we're going to try to identify
a hot dog as a sandwich.
So it's going to be kind of like a flowchart of if this is going to happen. So for me, I can identify a sandwich as being something where there's a bread, there's intermixings, there's some kind of meat or something, and then there's another piece of bread. So there's two pieces of bread sandwiching things together. Now, when you think of a hot dog, you have a bun that is connected where things lay in the middle of it. You put your hot dog and you put your toppings on it. You can have a chili dog. I would still consider that a hot dog. But ultimately, I define a sandwich as something being sandwiched together by two pieces of bread. And that you don't really get in a hot dog because it isn't a bun that is connected. Hopefully, sometimes hot dogs don't like to do that, but hopefully you have a hot dog like this. Now I'm thinking of things like,
well, what about a sub equal a sandwich?
I don't think you can identify a sub as a sandwich. It is a sub sandwich, but you're most likely going to say it's a sub before it's a sandwich. And those things have those bread that connect. which,
I mean, you could maybe define a hot dog as being more of a sub than it is a sandwich.
and now here we are in this rabbit hole of identifying things other than the question. So ultimately, I'm going to say that I don't think a hot dog is a sandwich based on my simple analysis that I feel like a sandwich is 2 pieces of bread, and you don't get that with a hot dog. So those are our comical questions for today. I hope I didn't dig too deep for you. I hope you had fun listening to those answers. And so now we're going to get into our segment where we're going to dig a little deeper. So for today's question of digging a little deeper, the question is a simple question, but I'm going to kind of take it to the next level. And the question is, what is one of your greatest fears? Now, when I talk about fears being fears in this, I'm not going to talk about something that really makes me scared, or like being scared of the dark or spiders or heights. Today, I'm going to talk about one of my greatest fears being fear of being unsuccessful. Because I think this is something that all of us at some point in our lives are going to encounter. And I remember when I was in school, it was always trying to be successful in your grades and things like that, and be good on school projects. And there's always so much anxiety built up along school projects or built up along school grades. And then once you get further down in high school, you're going to be worrying about what your next steps are, where you're going to be going to college, if you're going to apply for college, what kinds of tests you have to do, all of these entrance exams, applications, and it's just a crazy amount of stress. And you're always fearing whether or not you're going to be successful in these ventures. And then once you get into college, it's all the same things, only on an elevated level that you had in school. So there's even more stress. And then once you get out of college, you have to face the real world and do all these things. And this is the thing that I'm thinking about right now when I think of one of my biggest fears is, how am I going to make it in this world? How am I going to be successful? And those are the things that I'm talking about when what is one of my greatest fears. So I think it's important for you as a student, as a young person, to identify where these fears are in your life, and to make sure that you don't let it get to the best of you. Don't let it make you anxious and miserable every day of your life. And instead, try to take in one day at a time. Because life will be stressful, and it's not something that you can just say it won't be, because that's not true. Life is going to be stressful, but it's also important to not let that stress take over your life and to not make it one of your greatest fears. See, that's where I feel like I wish I could have done better for myself when I was younger and when I was your age, where I could have started to enjoy rather than to be anticipating the next step. Because anticipation can build that stress and make things worse. Although it is very good to be prepared. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not talking about just letting loose and letting everything go by the wind, because I certainly do think it's important for you to have a stance and to have a path of where you want to go, but to not let that take over your life. Make sure that you are taking steps in your day-to-day life to live out your day, enjoy the people you're around, rather than worrying about the next steps and making that something that you're going to ultimately fear a lot more when you're down the line. So I guess that's kind of how I would wrap up this discussion. I know that that is a question that we can dig a little bit deeper on. I'm sure I didn't do the best to describe exactly how I'm feeling and what my biggest fear is, but if we want to have those discussions, this is the perfect way to have those discussions. You can always reach out to me with any of those kinds of questions, and you can always look to me to be someone to answer those kinds of questions and to be someone who will listen for you, because that is the relationship we can have right now on this platform. That is the way we can connect, and that is the way we can build to be better people in this world and to be more focused people in this world and to be healthier and be focused on having a good well-being for one another. So that is how I want to leave you today. I hope you enjoyed thinking about what you're reading lately and that you maybe should be reading if you're not reading. Having some fun with those really interesting comical questions, and then having really good deep discussions about what some of your greatest fears are going to be and what they are right now and how we can help ourselves with those. So that is it for this Friday. Remember, for next Friday, if you have any questions that you would like to include in next week's video, to send them my way, and I would love to work them in however we can. And also, if you haven't seen the midweek devotion from Wednesday, I talked about how we are doing a service project in there, so go ahead and check it out. We are making positive notes for the guest house snack packs that the COS confirmation people are making, so I hope to see those coming in soon, and please refer to that video for that announcement. So this is it for the week. I hope you have a great weekend. As you can see, I'm wearing a Packer shirt because I hope that they have success on the field for this Saturday, so go Pack Go, and we'll see you later, everybody.